saw some ladies posting about selling their dirty panties online and making like extra money. So I thought, I have dirty panties. We were living a double life and had for a really long time.
Have you guys talked about what it would look like for the grandchildren to find this out, or that type of conversation?
From the moment we met, which it was my idea, we were part of the swinger lifestyle.
What is the longest time you've had to wear a pair of panties?
I think it was 5 days.
5.
Yeah, they could stand up by themselves probably by then. We're not talking Christmas morning saying, hey, mom and dad are doing porn.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah.
What has been like the most shocking fetish that you've found?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Welcome back, OnlyMoms. I'm so excited to have you guys. And how about season fucking 2? Look at us. I think there's no better way to intro season 2 with an OnlyMoms times OnlyFans collaboration, right? Our guest today has been ranked the top 1% in the world within OnlyFans. She's been featured in Hustler magazine, ASN Lifestyle magazine, and just published her book, Granny Panties, How I Made a Fortune Selling My Worn Undies. She's 57 years old, a mom of 5, a grandma of 10, and a certified GILF. So welcome to OnlyMoms, Ruby Lynne.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we cannot wait to have you. I think that this conversation is going to go a million different ways, but I do want to start off by just saying, like, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, good fucking job.
Thank you.
Like, I think we should cheers to that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Woo, cheers.
If you're new here, the OnlyMoms podcast is sponsored by Mom Juice. We are sipping on the cab today. How's that going down, Ruby Lynne?
Delicious. How did you know I needed a glass of wine?
Everyone needs a glass of wine.
Yes.
Especially to prep you for the conversations, right? Like,
yes.
That's how I'm going to get you really good.
Okay. It might get spicier as we go.
I know, right? Let's turn it up. So for our listeners, I've done a lot of homework on you already. I feel like I really already know your whole story. I've skimmed the book because I was nervous I wouldn't have time to read it. But why don't you give our listeners just kind of a timeline of your career?
Okay. So in fall of 2019, I came across a Facebook group, kind of a ladies only, called Scarlett's Chambers. I'm still a member of that group. Saw some ladies posting about selling their dirty panties online and making like extra money. And I was a social worker at the time, and my dream was to travel the world, but that takes money. Social workers don't make a lot of that. So I thought, I have dirty panties. I'm going to list them. And so I listed them then, gave it some attention, but I didn't really take it serious, and I didn't succeed. I mean, I sold some, it was fine. So delete my account. I'm like, I got to think of something else. Flop over to January of 2020, had no idea COVID was coming. My partner and I took a vacation to Hawaii, and I said, I think we can do this, but let's take it serious this time. Mm-hmm. And we did, and it just snowballed and got wild. And I worked as a social worker, daytime and XXX night and weekends for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I think it was April of 2022, my accountant said, your business has tripled the income what your social work, has. And so I gave my 2 weeks notice and went full time.
I love that. I think that some key things there for all of the moms listening that want to start a side hustle or have a side hustle is that you have to take it seriously.
Yes.
Right? A lot of times people don't get how many hours you're actually putting in after hours.
Yes.
To make it a success.
Yes. And
I know that that's something that you do talk about often, are the amount of hours you were putting in after you clocked out.
Right. Yeah. I would work, 7:30 to 4, get off. My partner and I were on live webcam by 6:30, till maybe 9:30, and just repeat that circle. So, yeah.
Wow. I do want to dig into some of the family-centric conversations and, how you dealt with some of the things that you have, having 5 kids. And I know that there have been some mergers and acquisitions, right?
Right.
2 are your stepkids.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Great. At one point you were living a quote unquote double life.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
We were living a double life and had for a really long time. My partner and I, my husband, from the moment we met, which it was my idea, we were part of the swinger lifestyle, kind of experimenting. And so, of course, kept that a secret from the 5 teenagers we were raising together.
I think that's more of like a regular. I'd be shocked if not over 50% of our listeners were in the swinger network and no one knows about it. I feel like that's like a regular secret.
Yeah, I agree. And then, we're empty nesters. And so started the webcam and the content. And we started to travel, once COVID restrictions lifted, we started to travel to events. I got my first studio shoot, and we were nominated for awards. And, the adult kids were kind of like, wow, why are you traveling so much all of a sudden? And, I hated lying.
Yeah.
And then 2021, at that point, we had been into it a year and a half, and we talked about it's probably time to let them know in a very dumbed down version. But somebody beat us to the punch.
That was my big question to you, is if you had already pre-planned that conversation, because I feel like I could have done what you were doing and like moving forward with the lie, but I would have continued to replay it on my own in my head of like, okay, when I'm ready, this is what it's going to sound like. Did it sound anything like what you thought it was going to sound like?
Yes. The problem is we had talked about it in fall of 2021 that maybe during the holidays, because one of our adult children lives, away from us quite a bit, but they always come for the holidays. And I mean, we're not talking Christmas morning saying, hey, mom and dad are doing porn, but
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah. But just like a methodical, private conversation maybe with them. But we were doing a live webcam show one evening, and one of our kids, my stepdaughter, sent a text message that said, I need to talk to you immediately. And I'm like, this feels different. Something's going on. And so it was a childhood friend of the kids had ran across an ad that a cam platform had ran with our images on Pornhub.
Both you and your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least it wasn't just you.
Right.
I mean that in the best way. If it was your stepdaughter to find it, like, guess what? Your dad was doing it too.
Right. Well, that's what happened is like this childhood friend texts all the kids and said, hey.
All of them?
Yeah. So like all but one, the one that lived away, she wasn't local. And yeah, it was like, your mom and dad are doing porn. And our daughter was the only one really that had the balls enough, I guess, to say, hey, that you should know what's being said or what's going on. And so that moment we shut everything down and called them one by one that evening and said, hey, heard that you got a text, just want to confirm it's true, Yeah. So we did that.
How long between them finding out did one of them confront you?
Well, from near as we can tell from the stories, probably about 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least
About
it wasn't
3
a
days.
prolonged experience of them like trying to
Being
figure
traumatized.
it out. Yeah. Were you always this open with your sexuality as a younger mother?
Yes.
Okay.
As a mom, I didn't go to college till I was 41 and got my degree, Portland State University. Yay. I got a bachelor's of science in pre-med and another one in public health with a minor in gender and sexuality. So sex was never kept a secret in our house. I mean, I was the mom on the block who had the drawer full of condoms because I'm like, if you're going to be stupid, at least be smart about it.
Right.
Very open, with our kids. I have a hard time believing they didn't suspect that we were involved in the swing lifestyle while we never brought anything home. We had a lot of friendly friends.
Yeah. How did they all take it in those individual conversations?
So out of the 5, one, so my son decided to disown us. And I have to preface it with there were some bumps in the road prior to any of this with him and his wife. And so this was, I think, what they grabbed onto to use an excuse. But, I've processed it. It was like grieving a death.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I've really had a lot of help, through a lot of therapy to kind of spin it. And it was my husband one time we had a conversation. He said, you have to respect them. We taught our kids to stand strong in their beliefs, whatever that may be, and that kind of thing. And so it's true. I do respect him. If he doesn't believe it's right or doesn't want to be around it, he's standing true to himself. And that's what I taught him.
Yeah, no. And I agree with that. I think, it's interesting. When I was, I believe, like 19 or 20, Playboy called me and was like, hey, do you want to come and interview to be a playmate? Right. And, in that moment, I had to tell my mom, and my stepmom was always the one who got to tell my dad, because I never had the balls or just like didn't have the respect for him to tell him on my own. Who knows?
Right.
But now, as a mom of 4, I try to turn that conversation on myself. And have you ever considered how you would have reacted if one of your daughters would have come to you when they were 18 and been like, hey, this is the career?
I believe I would have reacted with kind of the same way, kind of that the other kids did. Are you safe? Being safe and whatever that means. And are you having fun? Are you making money? Then that's your life. I mean, if my child was 18, I would probably be like, and I need to travel with you to make sure, I don't know. I would definitely want to be involved with them at some point. Make sure that they understand the ramifications for sure, because once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah. I mean, I paid a lot of money to get mine off forever. And even with a stage name, right? It's very different. And I didn't even go all the way through with it.
Wow.
It was just like the pregame,
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting, because my mom and stepmom took a pretty similar angle of, we support you. And I worked at the bank at the time. I was very early stage in my career at the bank, and very different career choices, right? And both of them were like, but we would love to see you take the avenue that has health care, or trying to reason with me with things in life that you do need, right? And so I wasn't upset by their approach. Right, I know, right? Something with more of a guarantee.
Right.
So no, I was curious if you had always been this open, and what those conversations would have looked like if reversed.
Yeah, we have always been very open. The kids used to tease us that, they'd make fun of us because they could hear us, as much as you try to be quiet when you're, getting frisky, but they used to joke with us. So in that respect, it was kind of hard, to see my son take that option, but what can you do?
You can't.
You raise them the way that you think is right, but ultimately they make their own decisions. And I have to add too that I received a message on Mother's Day. He said Happy Mother's Day. And that's the first time in 3 years I'd heard from him. And
I was just going to mention that,
I'm hoping for progress.
Yes. The shell shock of it all, right? He's allowed to have his moment. And if it takes him 3 years to get that thought out and stop being with the sticker shock, that maybe he will come around.
Yeah. It gave me hope. I am trying to rein in, wanting to bombard him with messages.
Of course.
But yeah, had landed in Miami for an event on Mother's Day and walking to baggage claim, and my watch goes off and I literally froze. Aww. And I couldn't even talk. And I'm just pointing at my watch, to my husband. I'm like, he's like, what's going on? And then he's like, oh, and I almost collapsed and just started bawling. I was so excited.
It's crazy because people are always like, the best gifts money can't buy, and that's truly one of them. And recreating that relationship and whatever that might look like, even if it just starts as some surprise text messages, that's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I am thrilled. So we'll see.
Does your first husband know about this career?
So both of my ex-husbands are deceased.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So they know.
Yeah, they probably know.
They see what the hell's going on.
And I just have my dad. I'm an only child, so that's like the only family I have on my side.
Yeah.
And my dad is almost 83 and is always, why are you traveling so much? And, so I've tried to dumb it down a little bit.
What does that dumbed down look like? I want the watered down version.
Yeah, the watered down version
of the 1%er in OnlyFans.
The dumbed down version is I work in social media. I work with adult industry entertainers and I help them. And, I also do my own social media and do photo shoots. And so, yeah, that's what we're going with now because it almost 83.
Yeah.
It's
interesting how the internet has changed so much and it's like working in your benefit with the relationship with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, he is 56. I am not 56.
Go 50s.
I know,
decade
right?
of my life.
Like he's still out here killing it. But his parents are in their 80s and they think I just have this hobby winery, right? And so his dad actually looked us up probably within the last 6 months. And he was like, so this winery you're doing, I put it into Google. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And he's like, so it's a real business. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, wait, so you're in Target. I guess that's kind of a big deal. They're finally like realizing and registering like what's going on. But I think until I actually had a brand to attach myself to as an entrepreneur, you'd ask my mom what I did and she'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Like once I got out of banking and I was an entrepreneur, she's like, I have no idea.
Yeah. That's kind of my dad. He's like, I have no idea, what you're doing. And sometimes he gets a little cranky about it. And
right.
I'm just like, ugh.
Did you start swinging with the current husband now? Was that like the first dose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was my requirement because I kept choosing the wrong kind of men, obviously.
Okay.
Controlling, jealous, overbearing, abusive. And so when I divorced my kids' dad, I was like, I'm making a checkbox.
Yeah.
If the next guy doesn't fit every single check, I don't care. I know I can't change people anymore.
Right. Had he done it prior?
Never.
Okay. So it was something the two of you were able to do together. Which is really nice. I really like, as we come into our age to find a partner that you can still experience new things with.
Yes.
I think that's really important. Do you think that was almost a gateway into comfortability for the two of you to take this leap?
Absolutely. It has everything to do with it because, the selling the panties, the buyers then wanted videos.
Right.
So we make videos and then we do live webcam. Well, what was our swing kink? It was to be watched. It wasn't always to be with other people.
Right.
It was just that thrill of someone's watching us, be naughty. And so, live webcam was the answer.
Okay, so that's totally my kink as well. And now I have some more questions, right, on another level.
I love it.
Right? Like, so when did you actually, because at that point, I feel like it's just an audience. You're not really swinging. You're there.
I mean, we did. We played with other people, but...
Okay, so the first time?
The first time we ever walked into a swingers club, no, we did not. I mean, we were scared to death. Didn't know what we were getting into.
Right. Okay. So how long until it broke the seal for you guys to actually start swinging and just venturing off of each other?
Kind of a couple months.
Okay.
And we had this agreement we would never play apart. That, it's so funny looking back, like all the hours of pillow talk and agreements and code words and to where we are now. I'm flying all over, shooting scenes with people.
Right. In one of the podcasts I listened to, you were going, and I don't know the names of these festivals, but you did say you're like, I have 11 scenes. And
yes, like, Exotica.
Yeah. I was like, well, damn, she's busy.
I was busy.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's my videographer. So it's evolved.
Oh, wow.
He still has a day job.
Okay.
Because we need health insurance. And
there we go.
He doesn't want to live this 24/7 like I do.
Okay.
A little bit different personality types. And so, if he travels with me, he is my camera guy. He is my podcast editor.
Yeah. And the next husband will have some skills that are
No next husband.
No. Your checklist for this husband, right? Like,
no, the next one is going to be a massage therapist.
yes. Can I marry that one too?
I know. Yeah.
And now we're sister wives.
I love that. I always wanted a sister wife.
It's gonna be the start of something beautiful.
Yes.
I also listened to, and I want to kind of talk about some of the what the fuck moments in this industry. In one of your interviews, you're like, yeah, I just came back from doing like vagina double penetration.
Yes.
You know, like in that moment, and you said it was good, and I'm like, I'm sure it was, but were you like, what the fuck is going on?
No, because we anytime that we shoot with others, we discuss the scenes ahead of time.
Okay.
And so this was my second time shooting with this guy, and we did a threesome, and it just came up, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's try it. And it was amazing.
Good. That's great. What are the cringe moments then of this industry?
Oh, cringe moments. Your scene partner doesn't have the hygiene quality that you expect. That's always cringe. But I'm a very bold personality and have no issue. And I did say, in this instance, like, you need to take a shower. Non-negotiable.
Yeah. Good.
And he did. And, it was better. It was better.
Right.
But that's definitely like hygiene.
Okay.
Hygiene.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine, considering my Uber ride over here was 7 minutes and it smelled like an animal shelter. Right. And I like and have animals. I have 4 kids and 2 dogs and a cat. They want to rescue everything.
Animal house. Yeah.
Right. Shit. So I was really shocked that I could hardly get through this 7-minute ride. So that would be a really cringy thing for me.
Yeah, it is. But also I'm very picky about who I shoot with. So I actually haven't had that many cringe moments. So thank God. I mean, I'm sure they're coming.
Yeah. You never know. Right. All over the place they're coming.
That's right.
Actually, name the cringiest place you could come. No.
Yeah, there you go. Ooh, I like where she's going.
So before we dive into business, I do want to talk about the boundaries that you have set with your family in regards to your work and like what that looks like.
Yeah, so I do talk about traveling. I never talk details with them. And they
don't ask.
Nope. And they aren't interested. I have a great relationship with one of my daughter-in-laws, and my stepdaughter. And so we just don't ever talk details, but it's like, yeah, we're headed to Miami. We just want to let you guys know we're going to be gone for a week or whatever. And so, yeah, it's worked out. No details, but...
Have you guys talked about what it would look like for the grandchildren to find this out or that type of conversation?
My hope is that they're raised with an open mind, and I want them to laugh about it. Yeah. I mean, I want them to really, get a kick out of it, I guess. That's my hope.
Right.
Because my great grandmother ran the biggest whorehouse on Queen Anne Hill in Seattle, and I think it's in my blood.
Right. Listen, that's great. She's a hustler.
And my dad talks about going over there and all the ladies hanging out, in the lounge area. And I just recently got a hold of all the photo albums from back in the 50s, and I have pictures of her now. So
that is amazing.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You're gonna have to put together a scrapbook.
I think. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, I would enjoy sitting down. We can drink to some wine and look at the scrapbook on that one. Do you think that any of your kids' friends, right? Like that's how you were caught.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Are they watching?
Gosh, I know they are.
Okay.
Because I've had a couple subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Wow. And how's that feel?
I was like, hell yeah. I knew you in high school, dude. No.
Right.
Yeah, I had one that was like, I started, messaging. I run my own OnlyFans, so you always get me. And I was just like, I like to form a relationship with my subscribers, where you at? And he's like, I thought you looked familiar. I know one of your boys. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, I'm like, are you going to make me guess? Or you're just going to come out and tell me? Because, don't make me go searching down the rabbit hole. And then, he told me, and I'm like, all right, well, how you doing? What are you doing these days?
Long time no talk. Were they good friends?
Yes.
Okay. So you knew his parents.
I didn't specifically really know this kid's parents, but like they did sports together and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Knew of them, but not knew them.
Do you think if your children were younger, you would have been a little more hesitant to start this career? Say they were still in high school, middle school.
Right.
And, you're still out at the football games. You're still super embedded in the community as a mom, like seen with small children.
Right.
Would you have been more hesitant?
I think I definitely would have looked at what the repercussions might be. And I think at that point, definitely if my kids were living under my roof, I would have had an open conversation with them.
Right.
How do you feel about this? Because I think that's only fair.
Yeah.
If they're teenagers. Now, if they were really young,
we can wait.
Yeah, we can wait. But yeah, I'm just that kind of person. I don't like secrets. Like I hated that year and a half. I hated lying.
Sure.
I'm not a good liar.
Yeah. And if you're already a free spirit, you're not. You're just used to being yourself. And if you're quirky or you're too sexual or you're whatever all these people deem us to be,
right,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
So yeah, holding things on your chest like that is tough. I'm also a sleep talker, so I can't hold anything on my chest. I feel like it'll be like out in the open. I'm going to be punched in the face by my husband. He would never punch me in the face, for the record. Here, people are going to come for me. But, I would definitely say it out loud.
Yeah.
Well, let's cheers to you.
Aww,
as a mom.
thank you.
I love your outlook and your openness. And
thank you.
I think that's great. And I'm definitely, let's cheers to that text message on Mother's Day too.
Yes. I got goosebumps as we were talking about it. I'm sure you could see that, but thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I want to dive in a bit more on the business aspect of things and removing the sex from it. Almost rehumanizing you in a sense, because I feel like you almost get the Kim K effect, right? Where
gotcha.
no one can get over the fact that this is how you started, this is your industry. And when I was skimming your book, I was so excited to just take nuggets out of it that I knew our listeners that are mothers that are starting a side hustle or currently in a side hustle could get out of this, rather it be marketing, how to upsell things, right? So at heart, you are an entrepreneur, and I want you to talk a bit about what these people would learn in your book.
Yeah, I have always been entrepreneurial. I've probably done every MLM that you can think of, from the time I was a stay-at-home mom with babies. I just never wanted to work for someone else but myself. And the business side of it is a lot of work. I think that's what we don't really realize is how much work it really is. It's, for me, it's a lot more than turning on a camera and losing my clothes.
Right.
You've got, banking, and there's, for sex workers, we could lose our bank accounts at any moment in time.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So people are losing bank accounts every day.
Wow.
Because of it, like the companies that they're getting deposits from or paychecks, can be flagged.
Wow.
So there's that part. But yes, we are marketers. I had to learn on my own. Everything is self-taught. The one great thing about all the skills as a case manager, doing social work is like the interviewing skills has served me well.
Right.
With my fans. And so I know how to do motivational interviewing and get that information. But yeah, there's marketing. There's, you're paying for things that you never thought. So like my QuickBooks, that's $35 a month. Let's see, iCloud storage, between the two, that's $50. And so it just starts adding up. You got to really be, diligent about your finances because there's ups and downs. That's the thing. It was when your income is based on tips and sales.
Yep.
There's no guarantee.
Well, and it's harder to monetize yourself when you can only wear one pair of panties at a time. And I thought it was so interesting to hear your like upsell strategy, which you call add-ons, right?
Yeah, add-ons.
Tell us what the add-ons are.
Oh gosh. So in the panty world, add-ons can be wear them for extra days. It could be no wiping after using the bathroom. It could be a video of you having sex in them and the aftermath of that. There's just so many add-ons. I mean, some guys want a bottle of pee with the panties. I mean,
like panties inside the bottle, or panties and then with a bottle.
A Gatorade
Wow.
Gatorade bottle full of,
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. What is the longest time you've had to wear a pair of panties?
I think it was 5 days.
5.
Yeah, they could stand up by themselves probably by then.
And with no wiping.
Yeah.
They have their own personality.
It was because I had a guy order a thong and I was going on a camping trip.
Oh, shit. He got the dirtiest.
He got the juice, let me tell you.
Request camping trip panties.
Yeah.
Wow. What has been like the most shocking fetish that you found?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I mean, I had to.
Yeah. That's why I put it in the book.
Yeah.
So early on, I didn't know a lot. I mean, I kind of knew about some of the BDSM fetishes,
Okay, tell us what that means.
Bondage, domination.
Okay.
I can't remember. But
it's bondage, right? We're held down.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Which isn't my thing at all. But I get into this business of the panty selling, and I am Googling stuff all the time because they're asking, and I don't know what it is. I had a customer that had a scat fetish.
Okay.
Yeah, so poop.
Got
and
it.
He offered me some money, and that was his thing. I mean, pretty much all the models on this one specific panty site he had ordered videos from. And I had never done anything with that, and I kind of put him off for a while, and like he made me an offer. I'm like, shit, I'll just try it. I'll do it once.
Shit, literally.
I was traumatized. I was traumatized, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And there's that video out there now that some guy probably in a basement has, and I don't know. Yeah. I could not get the smell out of my head. It was terrible.
Where's the camera and all of that?
Well, I set my phone up on a tripod.
Okay.
Yeah, and he wanted me to, defecate.
Right.
And then like lotion, rub it on my skin.
Oh, that's another level.
Yeah, that was a whole nother level.
Because like I'm sitting here like, you're that traumatized? We can shit in the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe they took it to the floor. No, that's
that was
another
the first
level.
and the last time I ever did that.
What did your husband say when you told him you were going to do that one?
He is like, he's like, what?
They have talked her into it, people.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, we've officially gone off the deep end.
He's like, I try not to be a fetish shamer, but I was like, oh my God, that was awful.
But it's not shaming if it's just not for you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like I'm not judging.
Not for me.
Yeah,
I don't do vomit. I don't do, scat.
I was completely caught off guard at the amount of men that were hitting on me while I was pregnant.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Like giant pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell my girlfriends, I'm like, I have one baby and, 50 people want to be my baby daddy right now. It's crazy.
There's a fetish for everything. I think it was late 2020. Yes, I broke my wrist. My son had a birthday party for my daughter-in-law, and they had to slip and slide. And I think I'm invincible, even though I'm 50 something. I'm like, oh hell yeah, let me do this. I wasn't even drinking. And went to go down this hill on the slip and slide. I'm trying to sit down as gracefully as I can.
Right.
I was probably like 50 pounds heavier then. And my wrist just snapped.
Oh.
So, of course, had to got a cast. And I knew somebody that was long-term in the fetish world. And, shout out to Caleb. And he said, oh my God, because I'm like, I can't work. I can't shoot content. Now I have this fetish. He goes, are you joking? There's a whole fetish world for cast fetish.
Okay. What cast fetish? Mm-hmm. What are we doing with the casts?
So, a number of things, like you could just be rubbing it. like that's softcore cast stuff, like, your fingers.
Softcore cast.
So then when I knew it was close to having it cut off, then we did some more hardcore stuff. Like I masturbated with my cast, and the final, hurrah, hurrah, the night before I had to get it cut off was a scene with my husband where he came all over my cast.
Wow.
Yeah. And
did you raffle off the cast afterwards?
No, but I did take a video of it being cut off, so that was...
Long live.
But you know what?
The cast
cast video stuff sells to this day, 4 years later.
That's insane.
I'll get a notification from like many bids. Your video cast, come on my cast, just sold.
Oh my gosh, come on my cast.
There's a big medical fetish community.
Okay.
I have a friend that pretty much only does medical fetish.
Are they in that, like, how do they get the supplies?
Yeah, for me, I had a guy that was into that, so I put a set of crutches on my wish list. I put a stethoscope. Well, I already had a stethoscope because I used to be an EMT, but
right.
Yeah.
Got it. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy because I think that when we think fetish, we're like, oh, the poop and the this and the who knows animals, something fucking wild. But it could be anything.
It can be anything. I did a whole series early on for someone that had a giantess fetish, and I did have to research that. And that's where the fetish is where you shrink them or you shrink something. And depends, you could squash it, you could be mean to it. This was more vor, so VORE. Vor is when you eat someone. So like little people, you would eat little, that's the whole fetish. I didn't really eat plastic little people, but you put it in your mouth and you swirl it around in the video.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Man, my porn search bar is about to be wild. I mean, I have to watch some of this. You can't I need to see some soft core cast.
I had to go research it.
Yeah, the research must continue. Mm-hmm. Ruby Lynne, this has been amazing. I'm so happy to have had you on this podcast and to hear your story and just get to see you in person after, the deep dive research I did and reading your book.
You did deep dive. Thank you for having me. This has been so fun.
Yes. And cheers. Cheers to the OnlyMoms podcast meets OnlyFans.
OnlyMoms and hot moms, huh?
Yep. There we go.
Welcome to season 2 of OnlyMoms. And I can't kick things off without giving a little treat to all of my favorites. So if you're new here, I founded a winery, co-founded actually with my business partner, Kristen Taylor, called Mom Juice. And we're all about keeping the bullshit out of wine. So not only do we slap our ingredients on the back of the label, but we are also gluten-free, vegetarian. Yeah, not all wine is vegetarian, okay? You might just be drinking fish bladder, and that's fucking gross. Regardless, we're giving you 20% off today. So all you have to do is go to momjuicewine.com and at the end of your order, put in OnlyMoms as your discount code and treat yourself, girl.